Welcome back, everybody. Hope things are going well in the first phase of open beta. I can't imagine it will be more than another week or so before it goes fully open for everybody to join in, but we'll see. Our video today will focus on two ships that occupy their respective Tier 4 slots in the cruiser category, the Phoenix of the USN and the Kuma of the IJN. These cruisers are the first real taste of what cruisers are capable of, minus the lack of anti-air defense, of course, as they are Tier 4, but are a legitimate threat to any ship Tier 6 or under. The only significant difference between these two ships are relating to the cannons and torpedoes. The Kuma has 7 140mm cannons with a 12.4km range versus 10 152mm cannons with a 13.7km range on the Phoenix. So the Phoenix is able to put some more fire further down range and have actually slightly better penetrating power as well. The Kuma also has a slightly lower shell velocity and again a slightly longer turret traverse. That's pretty much always the case with any of the Japanese cruisers, or actually anything Japanese. They tend to have pretty weak turret traverse. Both ships have a bit of an interesting turret layout, but it's easy to quickly engage multiple targets without much downtime. As usual, my first suggestion for your captain's 2-point skill is the increased traverse speed for the turrets, especially when you have turrets all over the place. It can make all the difference in a tight spot of just getting those few extra cannons on target to take out your enemy. Moving on to the torpedoes, however, we have a little bit more of a favorable situation for the Kuma, and by a little bit I mean it's huge. There's a big flexibility bonus here with the Kuma where it has a pair of the dual torpedo launchers on either side of the ship. The Phoenix only has a triple tube launcher on either side, so you can delay the second torpedo set and have them fall into a trap. Basically, I think there's a lot more flexibility when you have the multiple torpedo launchers on each side. I really like that setup, but the Kuma also has the range advantage at 7km versus 5.5, and it also has the massive reload advantage where it's 42 seconds versus the Phoenix's 66, I believe. And as far as the captain's point skills are concerned, you're going to have that 10% on the Kuma already, so that's down to 37.5 seconds versus 66 for the Phoenix. And you really shouldn't have that skill on your Phoenix captain unless you want to spend the gold to retrain him later, because aside from the Phoenix and the Omaha, there's no other US cruiser, at least yet, and aside from the Atlanta, of course, that has torpedoes. So that's up to you, but personally I would put the 2 points elsewhere and see what you can do as far as maximizing your learning potential for your captain on the ship. But either way, though, I would say they play exactly the same otherwise. And so I'm switching between high explosive and armor piercing quite a bit with these ships as I'm facing cruisers. It's really easy to get a ton of Citadel hits. I mean, I give the enemy my side quite a bit too, but it's because I know that for the most part they're using high explosive and they're not going to be as damaging to me as I will be to them. I think in a few, yesterday or the day before, had a number of matches where I had at least a dozen Citadels in something like 4 games straight. I had 14 in one of them, and in the Murmansk, which I'll be doing a video on because it's a badass ship, I got a new personal record of 18 in a single match, which is pretty badass. But either way, you can see a lot of what I was mentioning about the rate of fire on these is excellent, and while people usually won't really give much thought to the Tier 4 ships, these can be great money earners for you, and they can also be a bit of a lower cost option to try out some skills and try out the maps, get a little bit more familiar with this or that. You know, it's I think these are a low investment type of ship in terms of the time, the effort, the money to be able to do well with them, and to be able to utilize these particular ships as just being fun. Because World of Tanks, my favorite tiers are 4 to 6. I really like it. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Hetzer, the Stug, you know, that type of thing. But with World of Warships, I think it'll be pretty similar. If you look at the economy changes between the closed beta and our current situation here, it's ridiculous. And it's going to be expensive as hell to get the ships that you want. And not only that, to maintain them and to get the upgrades and whatnot. I mean, the people with the Arkansas, for instance, such as myself and everybody else who's in here, that's like 7 million to get all 6 slots up, the modules upgraded, and that's just ridiculous. But anyways, going against the poor Yubari here, honestly, never stood a chance. I mean, the Yubari, it's an easy ship to kill. The Gremmy, same thing. I'm not particularly impressed by them. I know part of it has to do with the captains themselves, and nothing against the people who use them. It's just if it's a training ship, it's a training ship, and that's cool. I mean, I think the Phoenix and the Kuma are as well. You just don't buy into them the same way. So it's generally people who have experience in the game prior to getting those ships, they tend to do really well with them. People who don't, they tend to die pretty quickly. So this Mermanx gets just wrecked by the armor piercing, and that is a tier higher at tier 5 versus the Kuma at tier 4, but it doesn't have the armor to prevent any penetrations along the side there. And here, just trying to limit this enemy's options. He's got to deal with either exposing his side by turning in towards me, or he's got to go through the torpedoes, which the answer is pretty obvious as to what to do there. Anything to give you a chance for doing more damage, which, again, I don't know what the hell I'm doing shooting that around there. I know it's going to bounce, so whatever, at least I make up for it there. But now this match, this was pretty interesting. This is in the Phoenix now, not that it really play any differently, but a lot of people died right at the start here. This whole area on Big Race is such a it's a good source of entertainment for sure, but light up that ship there for another 4 citadels, and this poor Yubari, he's certainly fixated on my ally there, so gives me plenty of opportunity to line up another 4 citadel shot on him, but he gets taken out. Almost gets my ally there too, so close. But later on in the match, just hunting things down. There's a few enemy battleships up at the northern part of the map, and I decided to jump on the cap. And I'm honestly not sure what the hell I was thinking at this point. I think I either said just screw it, or I maybe realized that I wasn't getting targeted by this guy. You could clearly see his turrets are pointing at my ally off to my left there, and I decided to say screw it, go with some torpedoes, right? Why not? Pretty sure this guy was new, because I mean, he really made no attempt to do much of anything as far as avoiding the torpedoes. Hell, I'm not even sure if he knew the torpedoes were in the water. But people who don't come out of the artillery zoom, they tend to stand out pretty bad. See, now he's aiming his turrets at me, but I got lucky here, that's for sure. But probably want to do this again. So I switched from the narrow spread to the wider spread, since he's moving, and I was having a really hard time leading targets over the last few days with torpedoes, whether it's from a cruiser or destroyers, of course. But either way, he just casually strolls right into the line of fire. So, oh well. And kaboom. Oh, well, sort of. Okay, there's the kaboom. A little delayed. My apologies. But, alright, and the last clip. This was the first time I had faced Tier 6 cruisers in either the Kuma or the Phoenix. And they should have loaded AP because I would have been dead, like, right here at the start. But they didn't, and was definitely lucky because of that. But started racking up citadels on higher tier ships, and I mean, granted, it's, you know, I don't know how the hell to pronounce the Aoba or Alba. I have no idea, but you know, Japanese cruisers, they have paper thin armor, so it's not entirely special, but at the same time, it gives you an idea of the capability of cruisers once you get to this particular tier. Things change a bit. It's not the slow, but, you know, heavily armed and actually decently armored St. Louis. It's all about the speed and your sphere of influence and being able to put as many shells into a target as possible in the shortest time possible. And I think cruisers, based off of their flexibility alone, are why they're so appealing to people. And of course the HE spam, which is ridiculous. But anyways, so as we're nearing the end here, I think the next video I'm going to do is the Murmansk Tier 5 Premium Cruiser. I'm potentially thinking of doing a Furitaka one just because it's so bad, and I think I could do well in it, but we'll see. Either way, I'll see you next time, and hope you enjoyed the vid.
We've sunk an enemy destroyer.